Welcome back to my channel. I know I've been kind of absent since like November, I think is the last time I posted on YouTube. I'm really sorry about that. It's just been, with the holidays and everything, it's been kind of a busy time. This video, I'm going to go over my wrap-ups for both November and December. So we're going to obviously start with November. And so with that, I'm just going to kind of jump right in. So in November, I started November with reading Helena Hunting. So I started with If You Want Me, and that one follows Aurora and Hollis. I gave it 4 stars, and it's basically like a age gap. Is this one the age gap actually? Yeah, this one's the age gap with sorry, it's been a second, but basically they're an age gap. He's like her dad's best friend, and it's a hockey romance, and so he's also hockey teammates with her dad. They have kind of a forced proximity a little bit too, because they live in the same building. And so she comes and watches his cats all the time. And so obviously things kind of progress and they fall in love. So I gave that one 4 stars. I really liked that one. I'm not usually a big fan of age gap. However, I feel like Helena Hunting did a really good job in that one, in my opinion. So then after that one, I went to If You Need Me. If You Need Me was my second book. It's also by Helena Hunting. It's also a hockey romance. It's between Hemi and Dallas. This one was kind of a if I remember correctly, it was kind of like almost like second chance, but not really. It's more like childhood friends to lovers, and it was also fake dating, because she's the publicist for the team, and they're kind of forced into this fake relationship to kind of save both their images. And so then they fall in love, of course. I believe at the time I read this one as an ARC as well, so I had an early copy of it. I gave it 4.5 stars, and it should be out now. I mean, I'm trying to remember. It's hard to remember sometimes when books come out, but yeah, I believe it's out now, so you can go read it now. You can read the whole series. I think it starts with If You Hate Me. I think that's the first one. And then it goes to If You Want Me, and then If You Need Me. So 3 different books in the series so far, but I really enjoyed it. After that, I read another arc by Tessa Bailey. It was called Dream Girl Drama. So this one is not out yet. It comes out in February, I believe. I can't remember the exact date, but I believe it comes out in February of 2025. And so it follows Sig and Chloe. It's another hockey romance because Sig is part of a hockey team, and Chloe ends up moving let me backtrack. So it follows Sig and Chloe. They are 2 people who meet at what is it called? Like those golf places, like a clubhouse kind of place. They meet there and they kind of hit it off right away. But then they both have somewhere they need to be, so they leave. And turns out it was a dinner with their parents, and their parents are getting married. So her mom and his dad plan on getting married and are together. And so it's kind of like a forbidden step siblings kind of romance. She ends up moving to the city that he is living in, that he's playing hockey for, and they just kind of grow closer together as like friends until, because they obviously know like nothing should happen because they're gonna be step siblings, but it's a romance, so that's kind of what it follows. So I gave this one 4 stars, and I believe there is 2 other books before this one in a series. They're like interconnected standalones, if I am understanding correctly. I have not read those ones yet, so I can't actually confirm that as of right now, but Dream Girl Drama I really enjoyed. I really like Tessa Bailey's writing. I've read her It Happened One Summer and the other one with the sister, Hook, Line, and Sinker, I think is what it's called. But I really enjoyed them. And so you know, when I got approved on NetGalley to read her new book that's coming out, I was actually so surprised because to me, like, Tessa Bailey's one of the bigger authors that I've worked with. Not even worked with, but like, you know, that I've had the opportunity to ARC read for. And so, you know, I just really enjoyed it. So yeah, 4 stars to that one. After that, so you're going to see a theme with November. November is going to have a lot of arcs. I had a lot of arcs in November. So the next book is called Fake Game. It's by Madison Fox. At the time, it was a arc read for me. It is out now already, but it follows Jackson and Deer, and it's the 3rd book in a series. So the first 2 follow. What it is Jackson's part of this trio video game streamer group, and the first 2 follow the other 2 streamers. So, you know, it's video game streamers. Deer's also a video game streamer, so they kind of have that in common, although she does do more cozy games and he's like not doing cozy games. I think he does more like horror games. But yeah, so it follows them, and obviously they were friends before, so it's kind of like friends to lovers. But I gave it 4.5 stars. I really love that series. I think if you are a person who really enjoys video games and maybe enjoys watching people stream video games, because I really love to watch people stream video games. Okay, sorry. This is going to be a weird cut because I was talking and then my camera just decided to stop recording. So what I was saying is that I think that if you enjoy video games, enjoy watching people watch video games like I do, I do think that the System by Madison Fox series, I do think that you would enjoy that series. It's just follows 3 streamers. Each book is a different streamer, different couple, and so the first one is like they meet at like the streamer awards, and she's like being a waitress there, and then she's like an artist as well, and so it's artist and he's a video game streamer, and also they're masked. I forgot to mention that also, they're masked video streamers. So in the first one, you know, like when you get to know the world, obviously like they are masked, so anytime they're wearing the mask, people recognize them. But if they don't have the mask on, nobody really knows who they are. Like they don't know their real names and they don't know what their faces look like. So yeah, the first one is she's a waitress and at the streamer awards, and they meet there. The second one is it's his publicist, so she's the publicist for all 3 of them, and they you know, it's a little bit of forbidden workplace romance, so it follows them. And then this one is they are both streamers, and so they kind of become friends, and they stream together a lot, and then yeah, so it's like a friends to lovers. So yeah, if you enjoy that kind of topic, definitely read those books. The next book that I read was another arc. It's called Only Fools Rush In by R.E. May, and I actually was part of her street team for this specific book. I don't know if it's for this specific book or for her books overall. It doesn't matter. I love her books. This is the sequel to Blood in the Water. That's the first book, and it's a mafia why choose romance. And so the first book, you know, sets up the second book, and then the second book really focuses on the relationship she has with all of the men, because it's her and there is 5 of them. So one was her bodyguard, and it has been her bodyguard her entire time, like basically her entire life. And so well, not really her entire life, but her entire like adult life pretty much. And so it follows them through this journey of kind of coming to terms with the fact that she wants to be with all of them, because she kind of figures that out in the first one, and then, you know, it's a why choose romance. So this one focuses a lot more on the relationships. And so Leona is the girl, then she has Cass, who's her bodyguard, and then she has 4 they're called shadows. They're like basically for hire assassins. And it's Seal, Obi, Ryu, and Win. And so, you know, you kind of get to see her develop these relationships with each one of them, as well as some of them creating their own relationships. So I really like it. I gave it 4.5 stars. This one, like I said, just focuses more on the relationship side, and I think that's why I really enjoyed it also, is because I felt like we were kind of lacking that in the first book, but it makes sense because it's a multi-book series, so it's like it's still ongoing too, so it makes sense that, you know, you wouldn't really see them develop those strong relationships until, you know, further into the book, into all the books. So yeah, if you really like mafia romance, if you like white shoes romance, I would definitely recommend this series for you. Okay, the next book that I read was an arc as well. It's called The Wrong Quarterback by C.R. Jane. This one follows Parker and Casey. Parker is a football player, and Casey is just, you know, a student there because it's a college romance. And so basically what happens is Casey is a freshman at the school, and he is, you know, the star quarterback. And if you've read C.R. Jane's work, you know that these men are always super obsessive. This is no different. I really enjoyed it. I think that it really had a lot of good plot lines, and there were some that I felt like kind of fell to the wayside. So, there's like, I don't really want to give any spoilers. This one should be out as well, so if you want to go read it, definitely go read it. But I remember there being like a almost like a secret society kind of storyline, and I feel like that one kind of fell to the wayside. Like it kind of felt like it was there to serve one purpose in the book, and that's it. And I would have liked to see a little bit more of it, but again, other than that, like I felt like the plot line was really good. It flowed nicely. I forgot to tell you, I gave it 4 stars. So, you know, much better than the last book I read by her. Because I feel like the Pucking Wrong Guy, or what was it? Pucking Wrong Number, I think is the first one. I think I was just more shocked. I don't think I expected it to go in the way that it did. And so going into this one, I knew the kind of man that C.R. Jane writes. And so I was like, okay, I was expecting it. So I think that's had a lot to do with it as well. So yeah, 4 stars for The Wrong Quarterback. Then the next one I read, this one I actually have a copy of since it's not an ARC and it wasn't on Kindle. I read The Wizard's Mark by Janet Rallison. Rallison? I don't know if that's how you say her name. But this one follows Marcella and Ronan. What I didn't realize about this book is that it's more like YA. There's not a whole lot. I don't think there's any spice, actually, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on that. Like, obviously, with any of the books that I read, like, I don't stray away from any spice or smut. So if they have them, I'm sorry if I don't mention that. Just know that that is there. But yeah, so The Wizard's Mark, it follows Marcella and Ronan. And basically, Ronan is a wizard, and every wizard has a mark on them. And so, you know, you kind of get to see them kind of grow up too. So like there's like backstory where they were kids and they grew up in the same kind of household, but she was more of a, I don't want to say slave, but kind of a slave. But it was like she was a maid, so she was responsible for like cleaning up after all these wizards and stuff. So because it was like a whole wizarding school. And they created this strong friendship, and it ends up becoming friendship to lovers. But then one day she's sent away to a different household, and he has to go and be his own wizard self because the wizards go to the different nobles. And then eventually they end up in the same spot again. And it kind of just follows their story, and there's like a whole mystery about it too, with like and like challenges because she's going there for a specific reason. And I don't really want to give too much away because I mean, it was a pretty good book. I don't think it was as good as, like, I think there's things that could have been developed more in it, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. It was part of a book club that I'm part of. This was the book that was chosen, and so I read it for that. And yeah, that's this book. So The Wizard's Mark, 3 stars. The next one that I read and that I finished off November with, so this is the last book for November. This was, I think I read it Thanksgiving week, is if I remember correctly, but it is Throne of Secrets by Carrie Maniscalco. And so this one is part of her, what are they called? Princess of Sin series? Is that what this series is called? I don't know what the actual series is called, but it follows like the Princess of Sin. Yeah, Princess Sin series. That is what it's called. So this one follows Gluttony and Adriana. Adriana is a journalist in his court, and he has like this rivalry with her because she's always writing bad things about him, because she thinks that he's like super like man, you know, like he's just out there being a player. And so she's constantly writing about his downfalls, and even sometimes just rumors about him and like straight up lies. So he sets out to stop her from doing this, and so he's trying to make her write for him and write in a better light. And he's hosting this competition to find a wife, basically. And so he's trying to get her to be the official journalist for this this whole competition. And so it follows them. I gave it 4 stars. I really like Carrie Maniscalco's like writing. I really like her story. I really like this universe. I fell in love with this universe in Kingdom of the Wicked. I just really love that story, and I really loved the story of Wrath and Amelia. Like, I love Amelia's name. Like, I think I one day want to name my daughter Amelia, to be honest, if I ever have one. But so the fact that she continued with the other Princess of Sin is really nice. And also so Kingdom of the Wicked is supposed to be like young adult, I believe, but the Princess of Sin series is actually, I believe, new adult. So there is spice and smut in this, so be warned. I definitely want to warn you about these ones because obviously in Kingdom of the Wicked you don't really get spice. But yeah, so I gave this one 4 stars, and that's how I ended November. So I only have 2 physical books for November, but these were them. And then I have all of the arcs and everything as well. So that was my November wrap up. Sorry I couldn't get it to you sooner. But now we'll just jump right into the December wrap up. So in December, obviously with the holidays and with Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, like there's a lot of Christmas books, and I try to read Christmas books, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. So we're just gonna kind of go in order. So in December, after I read Throne of Secrets, I was really on a fantasy kick. I just kind of wanted to read more fantasy, and so I was like, oh, I have plenty of time. I can read these 2 short books, and then I will read all the holiday, stories. So I started the December with How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly. This one follows Callie and Mendex. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. If you've read this book, you know that there's a super big plot twist at the end, and I will say I didn't see it coming. And I think that's fair because I think that's how she wanted it. I think that's how she wrote it. She wrote it so that you wouldn't see any signs. You wouldn't know. what was gonna happen, and I think she did it on purpose. And if she did a really good job at it. So I liked it. It's like this girl, she's a biologist, I believe, and she's searching for these mushrooms in the forest that are supposed to help her with getting the moths. She's trying to like find these moths, and so she's looking for these mushrooms, and she comes across the ones that are in a circle, and she steps into the middle of it, and it's actually a portal. It's a portal to the Fey realms, and so she ends up at the Unseelie Court, I believe. Is it the Unseelie Court? Yeah. She ends up with the Unseelie Court, the Fae, and Mendex is the Unseelie prince. And so he keeps her captive, and she has to go through these trials. It actually reminds me a lot of ACOTAR, I'm not gonna lie. But then, like, there's a big plot twist at the end. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 3.5 stars. And so as soon as I finished this one, I had to pick up the next one. So the next one that I read in December was What Did You Do by Janine O'Reilly. So again, it's following Callie and Mendex again. And this one I gave 3 stars. But in this one, well, I don't really want to spoil anything, so I don't think I can actually tell you. If you don't want spoilers, you can definitely skip away or skip ahead if you don't want to know like what their story how their story continues. But I will say in this one, she starts back in the mortal realm. She's like in the hospital because she was found in the forest unconscious, and so there's that. And then she ends up in the Seelie Court. So it's all about that. It gives a lot of more backstory to the characters and why they do what they do, you know, what happened in the past to get them where they are now. You meet a lot of new characters, and you just kind of get more answers. So any questions that the first one kind of left you with, you get the answers in this one. So yeah, I gave it 3 stars because I liked the first one better. So that was like how I gauged that. I think the next one, the third one in the series, I think it comes out in January, if I'm not mistaken. And so I'm really excited to read that, especially before I get into the whole Onyx storm. So yeah, 3 stars for What Did You Do? So after I finished those 2 books, I was like, okay, now I should probably start on my holiday romances because I was getting a lot further into December. And so my next book is How My Neighbors Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. This one was part of my book club. It was like the book club choice. So I read it with my book club, and it follows Story and Cole, and honestly, it gives complete How the Grinch Stole Christmas vibes. But basically, Story has to come back to Kringletown. Yeah, Kringletown is what the name is, and it's this big Christmas little town. Like they are Christmas like 24/7, 365 days a year. And so it follows them. And so Story has to come back to Kringletown to help her aunt who has broken her hip. And so she's stuck there in Kringletown for like the Christmas season. And every year Kringletown puts on this big Christmas competition to become, I forget what they're called, like the Christmas Kringle, I think is what it's called. That's like the title you earn if you win it. And so basically it's all these different challenges, like I think one of them's like making candy canes, one of them's doing like a performance, one of them's like the Christmas lights on your house. So lots of different Christmas competitions that they have to participate in. And basically her aunt Cindy, Story's aunt Cindy, basically signs her up to become a competitor in this competition. And because like she just really wants to win it, like she wants to be the Kringle Christmas Kringle or whatever it's called. And so Story is put into this whole competition, and Cole, so growing up, Story always came to Kringletown to visit her Aunt Cindy with like her family. They would stay there for Christmas, and so through those times she became friends with Cole, who's the neighbor of Aunt Cindy. And the last Christmas that she visits, which was 10 years previously, they kind of got I don't even know if it was an argument, but basically Story has this thing happen that makes her say some things that she does not want, or that she does not mean about Kringletown, and Cole kind of takes offense to it, and so he has this little grudge against her that she doesn't even know. And so he joins the competition as well when he finds out Story's going to be in it, because he doesn't want her to win, and so he's trying to do everything in his power not to, you know, let her win. So it's kind of like rivals to lovers. You know, it's a Christmas story, so it's very much Christmas. There's a lot of Christmas in it, and so I did like that about it. There's a whole famous candy cane scene from this book that people talk about all the time. To me, it kind of fell flat. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more intense than it was, but I mean, it was a cute, sweet little romance. I think it was a lot longer than it needed to be, in my opinion. Like, we didn't really need to see every single competition, but that's just my take. So I gave this one, I don't even know if I told you the stars. I gave it 4 stars though, so because I did enjoy it. I just felt like it took me a lot longer, and so I think I kind of blame this book on why I wasn't able to read a more, you know, holiday romances. So How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, 4 stars, and that was my 3rd book of December. So after that, I really wanted to read the new Lauren Asher novella, and then I was gifted it by my friend on Instagram. So My December Darling by Lauren Asher is the next book that I read. It's a little novella, even though if you look at it, it's still pretty long. Like, it's not like a typical novella, you know, like this is a novella for her. So I did rate it. I don't typically rate novellas just because usually they're just little, and like they're like almost like a precursor, or like almost like an intermission in a book series or something. Like, it's not usually, you know, or it's there for one reason and one reason only, right? And so, but this one, since it's a little bigger, I see it as more of like an actual book rather than a novella. So I gave it 4.5 stars. It follows Kaylila and Luke. And so basically what it is Kaylila is a traveling nurse. Luke is a doctor, and they are working at the same hospital around Christmas time because she's in town to, you know, celebrate her sister's wedding. So her sister's getting married. I think it was on New Year's Eve or something like that. So, was it New Year's Eve? I don't remember. It was like right in the holiday time. So her sister's getting married. She's in town to help her sister, you know, with any wedding task or anything, because since she's maid of honor. And so while she's there, she got a job since she's a travel nurse at the local hospital where Luke works. And so, you know, it's kind of forced proximity, kind of workplace romance. Also, Luke is the best man of her sister's groom. So they have that in common as well. Like, they know each other's families, they know each other's friends, like they are very much interconnected or like connected. And so it just follows them falling in love during the Christmas time and during this wedding time. And they're kind of set up a little bit by her sister and her sister's, you know, fiance / husband. So I really enjoyed it. It was a quick read. I think I finished it in like I think I started it one night, but I started it pretty late, and then I finished it the next day. So yeah, 4.5 stars for My December Darling. I love everything Lauren Asher writes, and so I cannot wait for her next book. Next, I found out that I got an ARC for a book, and so it was in the book that I got an ARC for is a it's in a series, so it's the second book in a series, and so I wanted to read the first book, which I already had, So that's what I went with. So my next book is Sticks and Stones by S. Massery and S.J. Silvis. So I've read a lot of S. Massery books. I don't know if I've put them on YouTube, but I read like her Hockey God series and really enjoyed it. And so I knew I would like this, but yeah, so this one, it follows Stone and Wren, and it's like a college hockey romance, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yep, it's college. Sorry, I'm going in my memory to remember. And basically they grew up together, and so he always called her Sticks, and his name is Stone, so that's why it's called Sticks and Stones. But basically they are forced, it's like a forced proximity because they, he is best friends with her brother, her adopted brother, and so she ends up she has like a really bad breakup with her boyfriend in college and has to move in with her brother into this house that has all the different hockey players in it. And Stone is transferring to the school to play on the hockey team there, and he also needs a room in this house, but the problem is they only have one room, and so they have to share a room, and so it's forced proximity. And they kind of don't like each other because of something that happens in the past, and so you kind of see this like enemies to lovers kind of thing. It's more like a bully romance, but it's not as strong a bully romance, I feel like, as S. Mastery. I feel like that's where like S.J. Silvis comes in. Although I haven't read her books, so I don't know if she does bully romances or not, but you kind of see that, and then yeah, it just follows their story. I gave this one, I don't even know if I told you, I gave it 3 stars just because it was good, but like it's not, I don't know. If you know my rating scale, which is on Instagram, by the way, but I'll just tell you a little bit right now. Like 3 stars is, I still liked it, but it's not like I'm gonna be, shouting from the top of rooftops, like, go read this book. Like, I will still recommend them if you ask me about them, but they're not like the ones that are at the forefront of my mind, right? So 3 stars for this one, and then 4 stars is ones I really, really like, and I will recommend them to you, but they're not 5 stars because 5 stars are like the ones that like I never forget about and like I'm always constantly thinking about. Those are the ones that I'm like, they become my whole personality, right? So those are kind of like, this might be late to even explain to you, but I just felt like I needed to explain. So Sticks and Stones, 3 stars, Stone and Wren. I liked it. It was really good. Then the next one that I read was The Ark. So it's their second book in this series. It's called Heart of Thorns. It's already out, so you can go read it now if you want. I gave it 4 stars, and it follows Thorn and Briar. And I actually really, really, really love this one because, and I liked it much more than the first one. And I think it's because there wasn't so much bully romance. Like, he was very much a golden retriever MMC, and she was a very much black cat FMC. So it was more like he was trying to tame her. And I think I enjoyed that a lot. And I just think that their love was just so cute. It's like fake dating. They are kind of forced into pretending like they are dating for each other's benefit. Like, his parents are always setting him up on dates because they want him to find a wife and settle down. And she is, what was her benefit again? I think it was just because like she needed to get close to the football team, which he's on. Yeah, I don't want to give anything away. That's why I'm trying to think of like how to word this. But basically, he's the quarterback, the star quarterback on the team, and so she dates him for her own benefit. But he's dating her to get his parents off his back, and so it's fake dating. There is like trauma in this book, like trauma response, like PTSD kind of stuff. So definitely, like, for that one and Sticks and Stones, make sure you're checking your trigger warnings, just because they do write darker romances. So make sure you're checking those. So yeah, Heart of Thorns, 4 stars, loved it. Followed Thorn and Briar, and Briar is also an artist. So you got the star football player in a really popular artist, and it's college romance, so they're in college. So that one was my 6th one of December. Then I went on to read another arc. I kind of finished December off with arcs. So my next book that I read was an arc for Helena Hunting again. And it was Chase Lovett Wants Me. So this one follows Chase and Cammy. It is not out yet. It comes out on January 10th. Or if I post this video late, I shouldn't post this video late, but if I did, it comes out January 10th. And I love this story. Like, here's the thing with Helena Hunting. I really loved her Puck series. Like, I will, die on the hill that those are like some of the best books ever. And I haven't felt that from Helena Hunting since then. Like, I've enjoyed her stuff, but it hasn't been like that until this book. Chase Lovett Wants Me is so good. I gave it 5 stars, and it follows Chase and Cammy. It's a college romance. He is one of the star players on the hockey team, and she's very much an introvert bookworm who she like writes fanfic in her dorm room, and they live on the same dorm floor. And one day there's a storm and a fire alarm in their dorm building, and the sprinklers go off, and so they can't let them back in there until they kind of fix the building up. And so they're forced to go to, the whole dorm is forced to go to a hotel and stay there until it's fixed. And so because her name is like Cameron, her first name's Cameron, even though she goes by Cammy, they kind of have like a little mix up and end up in the same room at the hotel, and there's only one bed. And he goes to try to fix it with what are they called at the dorms, like the people in charge or whatever, but they're like super busy, and so he's just like, it's fine. And so they end up in forced proximity in this one bed, and she's always found him very attractive. She's had a crush on him for like the entire time they've been there, which is just a few months because they're freshmen. But yeah, you kind of follow that, and he like didn't really see her until that night. So it's a little bit of like insta love-ish, but like done in a really well, like in my opinion, done in a well way, or done well. I can't talk. I'm sorry. Words are hard. But yeah, I really loved it. So I think if you enjoy like college, sports romance books, and you want something that's going to be a little funny and that you might be able to relate a little bit to, if you are an introvert girl, or have ever had a crush on a guy that you never thought you would have the opportunity to date, I highly recommend this book. And even if not, I think I highly recommend this book anyway. So I really liked it. They did have some Easter eggs and like some ties to the other books that she wrote, the If You Hate Me, If You Want Me, and If You Need Me books. So that was kind of cool too. So it comes out January 10th. I gave it 5 stars. The last book that I finished December off with was One Shot by AC Wonderland. This is also a arc. It comes out in March. It comes out March 7th, but the pre-orders start on January 1st. So by the time you're seeing this, you can already go in and pre-order it if you want. And she has special editions with sprayed edges and everything. Really cute cover too. So One Shot by AC Wonderland. It follows Lucas and Lauren, and basically what happens is it's a college hockey romance. So Lucas is the star player and captain of the hockey team, and Lauren comes to their school as the PR marketing junior for the hockey team. So she's in charge of making sure their image stays good and like helping with any marketing events or anything like that. And so they work closely together because she has to write articles on him, and just she does like pictures of the team and stuff. And so it's a lot of like forced proximity kind of vibes. I gave it 4 stars. So since this is her debut novel, I gave it 4 stars for the fact that I enjoyed the story. I really liked where she was going with it, and I did enjoy them falling in love. However, since it's a debut novel, like obviously sometimes like more established writers may have more established plot lines and more established writing in general, but I don't like to give my stars based off of writing or grammar or anything like that. So yeah, for a debut novel, I think it was really good. I do think you should give it a shot if you enjoy like college romances, college sports romances, if you enjoy hockey, especially, because she definitely knows her hockey. And I appreciate that, because as a hockey lover myself, sometimes it's harder for authors who don't know hockey that well to write good hockey romances, because they may not know the hockey side of it as much. So it's kind of more just like, oh, they went and played a game and that was it. Or like a penalty or something will happen during the game that is completely unrealistic. Like, that's not gonna happen, because obviously like it's hockey. So I think she stayed pretty realistic to how an actual hockey romance would be, and I really appreciated that. So yeah, that's why I ended my December off with. Okay, so this might be a weird cut again, because again my freaking camera stopped recording, so I'm so sorry about that. But basically I ended my December with one shot. It was another arc read, and I didn't think I was gonna finish with that, but that's what I finished with. So I'm very excited to see going forward what January is gonna hold. Something else I did want to do in this video real quick, just because I don't think it's enough for a brand new video, but I also wanted to kind of introduce this new idea I have that I got. So I got this TBR jar, and you can't read it, TBR jar, and all these little papers have a different book that I physically own on it. And so my idea was to, throughout the year, I'm gonna pick 1 or 2 or even 3, depending on the month, books from this jar to read for the month, and we're gonna see if I can complete it. So I thought I would pick my books for January now, since I don't think it's really enough to like be its own video, but yeah, so let's go ahead and pick those. And then also, like, let me know if you would want to see like reading vlogs for these books or what. A lot of them are special editions that I got from Fairy Loot, so I do know that. I'm just gonna mix them up a bit. Okay, they should be pretty mixed. So let's go ahead and pick out 2. I think I'm gonna do 2 for January. So we got our 2 here. Let's go ahead and see what they say. Okay, so this first blue one. I don't even know what book this is, I'm not gonna lie. It says Love, It's Complicated. I don't know if you can read that. It says Love, It's Complicated. So I'm gonna have to figure out which book that is. I'll go grab them right now and then show you. But so that's the first one. The second one is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, which I know is a Fairy Loot one. So let me go grab those real quick and then I will show you. Okay, so I grabbed the 2. They are kind of smaller. One of them's like a novella. So I did pick 1 more. So I got The Temptation of Magic. So the 3 books from my jar, 2 of them are Fairy Loots, which is like the main reason I wanted to try this. So that's good. So I got the 3 here. So the Love, It's Complicated one, that's the one that's like a novella, kind of. So I got this actually in another book box that I had before. It was called Romance Book Box. And they sent a bunch of like little novella type books like this. So I actually don't know if it's considered a novella, but it's not very big. So I think I could probably finish this one in like a day. So I'm going to read this one. And then The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. And I think actually there's one book that I was going to read by her that I was going to read for my A to Z challenge last year, and then I just never got to it. So, but yeah, this one has sprayed edges. It's a Fairy Loot edition. It's very pretty. It has like pretty end papers and everything. Pretty naked cover. So very excited to read this one finally. I've had it for like ever. It was one of the first books that came in my Fairy Loot boxes, so that's exciting. And then The Temptation of Magic by Megan Scott. This one's one of the newer Fairy Loots that I got. It's also a Fairy Loot. It has sprayed edges. It's pretty inside. I got this one May of this year, so it's one of the more recent ones, but it has pretty end papers and naked cover. You know, it has even a reverse dust jacket, so we'll see how this one goes. I feel like I don't know if it was this one that I've heard about, but I think it might be this one that I've heard about that people it was like a hit or miss, but we'll see how I like it. So those are the 3 books that I'm gonna attempt to try to read this month. If this doesn't go well, then I'm probably going to stick to maybe only 2, even if they are smaller like this. But I thought because this one's kind of smaller, I can do one more. So that's why I just decided to pick another one. So these are my 3 TBR jar picks for January. We'll see how that goes. Other than that, I'm a mood reader, so we'll see what else I end up reading. But so yeah, this is kind of a long video, I'm sure. So I'm sorry. I got my November wrap up, my December wrap up, and then my TBR jar picks. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see me do any reading vlogs for these 3 books that I picked from my TBR jar. I might film it just in case, and then we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, I'm hoping to be a little bit more consistent in 2025 for my YouTube channel, because I really enjoy making these videos for you, and I enjoy sharing my thoughts in this kind of format rather than just through Instagram, which is where I mostly have my thoughts and stuff. So yeah, let me know anything you'd like to see this year. If there's like specific series maybe that you would like me to do reading vlogs for, if you would even like reading vlogs, let me know. Just let me know anything that you might want to see this coming year. That I would appreciate it a lot to just get your input. But with that, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you watched this far, maybe comment below. Let's go with like a dog emoji. I think if you watched to this point, do a dog emoji in the comments, and I'll know that you've watched the whole thing, and I will really appreciate that. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Oh, and make sure to follow all my socials. They're in the bottom as well. Thank you. Bye.